This Friday, August 11th, MLB Betting Picks show on this MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by our Patreon. Score exclusive perks, content, and contests, including our NFL win totals contest with a $1,000 prize. Join today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. We're also brought to you by Parlay Play. Parlay Play is a lead pipe blocking for parlaying player props. Go to parlayplay.io and use promo code SGP for a 100% deposit bonus today. Welcome, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Thursday, August the 10th, currently 5:03 on the East Coast, here to break down our MLB betting picks for the Friday games. And joining me, as usual, to help me break it down, you guys know him as the voice of the Tennis Gambling Podcast, WNBA, NBA, NFL, and of course, here on the MLB show, it's Scott Studio Reichel. Scott, how's it hanging, my man?
Yeah, doing pretty well. Swept the podcast yesterday, or the last time I was on, which was nice. I had the Braves team total over 5.5 with Lonte, and that ended up getting there. And then I faded the Yankees because the White Sox were underdogs with Severino on the mound for some reason. So plus 105 worked out. And using an opener for Severino didn't fix the fact that he's not a good pitcher.
Yeah, I saw that last night when the Yankees were playing the White Sox. Didn't work out very well for Severino and the Yankees. But the highlight of the season so far for the Yankees has to be that Aaron Boone ejection with Las Diaz. I thought that was
that's got to be Severino's last appearance, right? Is he going Phantom IL? Like I got to assume.
Yeah.
So, right?
It's the Yankees, man. You never know.
Anytime we're fading these pitchers, man, it's like the next day they go on magically the 15-day IL that they get designated for assignment. But also joining us here, you guys know him as the voice of the NBA Gambling Podcast, and of course here on MLB, it's Lonte Smith. Lonte, how's it hanging, my man?
Not bad, man. Doing pretty good. Having a nice end to the week, so hoping we can keep it going into the weekend.
Yeah, man, brand new series starting on Friday to carry us through the weekend. Some intriguing matchups, some duds of the series, but hey, you know how we do it here on the MLB show. We'll break down every single game for you guys as we usually do. So, gentlemen, let's dive right into it. The first game for the schedule, let me get to my odd screen here. We have a 6:40 Eastern start between the Cleveland Guardians and the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm seeing Xavier Curry is getting the start here for the Cleveland Guardians, and Aaron Savali gets the start here for the Tampa Bay Rays. Lines, I'm seeing the Rays are almost a $2 favorite, minus 198, plus 164 on the money line for the Cleveland Guardians. Total set at 8.5. Run line minus 1.5, plus 110 for the Tampa Bay Rays, and plus 1.5, minus 130 for the Cleveland Guardians. Aaron Savali getting his second start, I believe, for the Rays, and he is going against his former team. His first start for the Rays could have been better, but it wasn't, I guess, too bad of a start. 4 1/3 inning, he did allow 9 hits to the Tigers, 3 earned runs, 4 strikeouts. The Rays did go to lose that game against the Tigers 4-2. But that he's been pretty solid this season. He has a 2.55 record in 14 starts this season. Last 5 games, including the games against when he pitched for the Guardians and for the Rays, he's 2-1 with a 2.51 ERA. On the other side, like I mentioned, Xavier Curry gets to start here for the Guardians. 3-1 on the season with a 2.95 ERA. He's kind of been alternating between starts and coming out of the bullpen for the Guardians. His last game was a start against the Chicago White Sox, 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs he allowed. He's been pretty good for the Guardians here. First play that came out to my mind, I thought that total was initially came out at 7.5, if I'm not mistaken. Now it's up to 8.5 here. But I do like the under in this game. I'm not sure if I could trust the Guardians to score enough runs here, and I think Aaron Savali has been pretty solid this season, like I mentioned. I think the Rays, probably should be able to get up to about 4 to 5 runs here. Not going to lay the almost $2 price here with the Rays. I would look at the run line if you do like the Rays here. But I think I do like the under 8.5 in this game here, Lonte.
Yeah, I'm with you. Can't look any other way besides the Rays if you want to have some action on the actual, outcome of the game. But I like the under. I mean, Cleveland's hitting under 200 in the last 10 games, 1 run or less in the last 3 games. They've lost 7 of 10. Tampa Bay has won 7 of 10. They've been playing pretty decent offensively, 4 more runs scored in 4 of the last 5. But I like the under a lot more. I mean, Tampa's under in 6 of the last 10. Cleveland's under in 8 of their last 10. They've been under in 4 straight. I don't think we see a lot of runs here. I could see a 3-2 game, maybe even a 2-1 game here. So I love the under in this matchup.
Scott?
Yeah, I'm on the under as well. I had the under in Savali's first start with the Rays on the Lock, Dog, and Total podcast on Saturday, and that got there. But I do think when you're looking at the actual matchup here, Curry's been good, whether he's been a starter or a reliever, and Savali's been, for the most part, good this season. Now, it's always an interesting spot when you're against a team that just traded you, because on one hand, either the team knows all about you, so you're going to struggle, or on the other hand, you're pissed they traded you, so you're going to have a good start. So it could go either way, but I do think, once again, with Cleveland's series against Toronto, the weather was beneficial to the overs in that series, and neither team could hit, and every game went under. In fact, you had a 1-0 game in back-to-back days. So Cleveland can't really hit. Tampa's been better offensively, but I still don't think they're a great unit by any means. I like the under. I think 8.5 is too high.
All right. Before we get over to the next game on the schedule, let me tell everyone about the Sports Gambling Podcast Patreon page. Sign up for the Patreon to get access to exclusive contests, including the NFL Win Totals contest with a $1,000 first place prize. Besides season-long contests, they also have weekly contests just for patrons, plus a monthly SGP Stories podcast, completely ad-free and full of behind-the-scenes stories from SGPN. There's even a Discord channel just for patrons. Only you can prevent corporate gambling. Do your part and sign up today. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Again, get all the details over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. All right, boys, let's get over to the next game on the schedule. Let's go over to another 6:40 Eastern start. We have the New York Yankees. They are down south. They're going to South Beach to take on the Miami Marlins. I'm seeing Randy Vasquez is going to start here for the New York Yankees, and Jesus Luzardo is on the mound for the Miami Marlins. Marlins a home favorite of -118 here, -102 on the money line for the New York Yankees. Total set at 7.5. Run line -1.5, +160 for the Yankees, and +1.5, -192 for the Miami Marlins here. Scott, what do we got?
So I was going to blindly take Miami because I think Luzardo's better than whoever the Yankees are going to throw out there. Luzardo, I will admit, has not been great his last 2 outings, as he has given up 4 earned in each of the last 2 starts. But overall at home this season, he's been solid. 2.64 ERA and 78 1/3. And we know the Yankees can't hit. They lost the series to the White Sox, which is almost impossible to do because they couldn't hit. They had the bases loaded a bunch in that series, and I think they scored maybe once with the bases loaded in like 4 or 5 innings. So yeah, I don't trust this team at all. You're looking at Miami. Luzardo, I do think is going to strike out basically half the team. He should probably end up with 10 strikeouts. Maybe look for a Luzardo strikeout prop in this game, but I'm going to go with Miami. They've been good at home this season. Yes, I know the team has kind of fallen apart lately, but so is the Yankees. So that kind of balances out, but I think that Miami, once again, being 34-24 at home, while the Yankees are 24-28 on the road. The Yankees are going to throw together either Vasquez or a bullpen day or something, but I'm not that optimistic about it. I'll take Luzardo at a short price at home.
Lonte?
Yeah, I'm with you here. I like both Miami and the under here. Both teams went under in 60 of the total games this year. That's about 55% on the season. Yankees, Scott mentioned it. Lineup has been atrocious. I mean, they're under in 6 of the last 10. Miami's under in 7 of the last 10, including 4 straight. I thought Miami was fortunate to not get swept by Cincinnati. I felt like Cincinnati gave those games away. Munaf, I know we were both on Cincinnati and a couple of
Forget
those.
about getting swept. They won the series.
Yeah, but they were like a few. They were literally like a few.
They should have gotten swept, yeah, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like they won one game. They won 2 games they probably shouldn't have won.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know how much I want to put forth on it like a dollar amount, but just a slight edge to Luzardo at home. I mean, 2 earned runs or less in 5 of his last 6 starts. New York inconsistent. I mean, you just never know what you're going to get with them. Scott, you mentioned that Miami's really good on the road. I like the under more than I like the side, but I still will go with Miami at home.
Yeah, Luzardo is a guy that I trust more at home this season for the Miami Marlins. 13 home starts for Luzardo. The Marlins are 10-3 straight up in his starts in those 13 games, 6-5-2 towards the over. But yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, Scott, that again with this Yankees offense, I think everybody knows that you have to score runs to win games. Doesn't matter how well you pitch, you still got to score some runs to win ball games. I think it just kind of boils down to that for me. So I'm with you guys. I'll take the Marlins here. Look at a first 5 under maybe in this game as well between these two squads. Next game on the board is the 7:05 Eastern Star. The Cincinnati Reds. They are in Pittsburgh to take on the Pirates. Andrew Abbott gets to start here for the Reds, and Johan Oviedo gets to start here for the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Reds are a road favorite of -122, +102 on the money line for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Total set at 9 with Vig towards the over at -115. Run line -1.5, +140 for the Reds, and +1.5, -166 here for the Pirates here. Scott, what do we got?
So even though I think Abbott's the better pitcher here, I'm actually going to go with Pittsburgh. I thought they actually looked pretty good against Atlanta. Now, the bullpen blew a game or two. Which you can make an argument they might have swept that series. The bullpen was really bad, but they've been hitting. Simply put, I mean, the offense looked good. They scored 7 runs on Monday against Elder. I know I gave out the team total over 3.5 on VSiN, but Pittsburgh's been good, simply put. And you're looking at the Reds, and they're the opposite side of the coin for that Miami series. It's extremely heartbreaking when you lose a series you need to win, but when you lose in that fashion, in addition to all the struggles you've had recently, it's probably not going to go well. It's going to snowball quickly. But this bullpen can't hold the lead, and I think that even if Abbott pitches well, I'm not sure he's going to go long enough to actually can really just limit the damage from the bullpen. But Pittsburgh's been good. Just simply put, I've mentioned it before, bad teams have stretches. We saw Oakland win, for example, like 7 straight. Kansas City won 7 straight or 8 straight about a week or two ago. Pittsburgh's offense, which isn't the greatest on paper, has been good. And Brian Hayes came back from injury. He's been solid lately. But simply put, I really don't want to lay money with the Reds when I know their bullpen can't hold leads. And Pittsburgh, I thought, kind of held their own against Atlanta over the last couple days.
Yeah, Oviedo has been pretty solid for the Pittsburgh Pirates over his last 5 games, 3-1 with a 2.32 ERA. He's gone at least 7 innings in 3 of his last 5 starts, and the Pirates have won 3 straight starts, back-to-back games. He's gone 7 innings for this Pirates team, 14 innings pitched, 8 hits. He's only allowed 1 earned run in that span. Walks are a concern for him. He's allowed at least 3 walks in 4 out of his last 5 starts, but what you mentioned, Scott, especially against that Braves team, that they were able to put up runs. And if it wasn't for the bullpen, that possibly we could have seen the Pirates sweep the Braves in this series to start the week. So I'll lean with the Pirates here as well. I lean towards the over in this game as well. I think both teams can put up runs, and like we've said, the Reds bullpen just can't, protect the lead. I think the same thing we saw against the Pirates as well. So Pirates money line and over for me here, Lonte.
Yes, I'm gonna go the other way. I like Cincinnati in the under. I like the under more than I like Cincinnati. I think we'll see, pretty much a pitching duel. I think you guys ran down the numbers of Abbott and Oviedo. I guess I'll add a few. 1 earned run or less in 4 of his last 5. This is for Oviedo. And at home, he's allowed 2 earned runs or less in 6 of his last 8 starts. I mean, Cincinnati is, they haven't found their offense. They're under in 5 straight. And I think that's a direct reason of why they've lost 7 of the last 10. They just can't win close games. So if their offense isn't humming, they can't get it together to win a close game. Whether that's bullpen or just coming up short in key spots with men on bases, they just can't figure it out. And Scott mentioned Abbott, been shaky 10 earned runs in his last 2 starts. But if you extract, a bigger sample size, he's been pretty fine. I mean, 1 earned run or fewer in 4 of his last 6 road starts. He got 3 shutouts in that span. And Pittsburgh was good against Atlanta. They like really good, surprisingly. But I like Cincinnati to get back on track here. I think they're good on the road, 31-26, and with Abbott on the mound, I think they'll get back on track. Offensively, I'm kind of worried, but again, that's one of the reasons why I like it under. I can see a 4-3 type of game here.
Yeah, I think if you like an under, I would probably go first 5 under personally because
I
wouldn't trust these bullpens.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. I was split half unit on the first 5, half unit on the full game.
Yeah. All right, let's get over to the next game on the schedule. We have a 7:07 Eastern start. The Chicago Cubs, they are headed up north to take on the Toronto Blue Jays. Javier Assad gets a start here for the Chicago Cubs, and Jose Berrios gets a start here for the Toronto Blue Jays. Blue Jays are a -162 home favorite, +136 on the money line for the Cubs here. Total is set at 9 with the vig towards the over at -118. Run line -1.5, +120 for the Blue Jays, and +1.5, -142 here for the Chicago Cubs here. Lonte, what do we got?
Yeah, so for whatever reason, they opened this up like Toronto minus like 112, 111. I thought it was way too short. I know they're struggling offensively, and I know the Cubs have been good offensively, but I mean, Toronto at home, I don't think you can go again. And this is an opener, if I'm not mistaken, for the Cubs, right?
Assad doesn't typically go length, so
yeah,
if
he doesn't go
start,
long.
He'll probably go 4, maybe 3, but you're going to see somewhat
of an opener.
Yeah, somewhat.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're not pitching, Stroman, Steele, I don't, especially on the road against a good team. I mean, I know they struggled offensively, 4 earned runs combined in the last 3 games, but I mean, I'm pretty sure they'll find their offense at home. So I like Toronto here. Berrios has only allowed over 2 earned runs once in his last 6 home starts, so he's pitching well at home. I think the offense can wake up. Obviously, they're missing Bo Bichette at the top of that lineup, but I mean, with the Cubs going with an opener, I'll go with Toronto here at home. I mean, they're 30-24. They usually dominate as a favorite. They're 44-36 on the season as a favorite. Give me Toronto here.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, that Assad doesn't go very many innings. He did get the start in his last game, which was against the Braves. He just went 3 2/3 innings in that game. Allowed 5 hits, 2 earned runs to the Braves. The Cubs actually did go on to win that game 8-6, but it seems like he's probably going to go maybe 2 or 3 innings here for the Cubs. But like you mentioned, Jose Berrios has been pretty solid for this Blue Jays team, especially at home. 4-3 with a 2.72 ERA. His last start was in Boston, 5 2/3, 6 hits. He allowed 3 earned runs. But like I mentioned, solid pitcher at home. We're waiting for this offense to come out for the Blue Jays, man. I know there's multiple opportunities for them today in their loss against the Guardians.
I got a rant about that game in a second.
Don't remind me. I had them. I
have a rant, but I'll let Munaf continue.
Got good CLV and everything.
It's honestly this at the beginning of the season. I think for the last 2 seasons, where you saw this lineup on paper that you would think that they would be one of the better ones in the entire MLB. But I think it's a managerial thing for this Toronto Blue Jays team, something similar that we talked about, like with the St. Louis Cardinals. But I'll lean with the Blue Jays here as well, man. Again, I just don't trust the offense, but Berrios is in good form right now. He's just got to get the run support here. So I'll go with the Blue Jays here, Scott.
Yeah, for me, should I start off with the pick or the rant?
Why don't you start with the pick and then you could go into the rant.
All right, so for the pick, I think I'm going to lean to Toronto. I'm not sold on what the Cubs are going to do pitching-wise, but that Mets series was brutal for the Cubs for a couple reasons. One, because they kept pitching to Alonso. He homered in every game. I don't know why you were even bothering at that point, but I think when I'm looking at the Cubs, I do think in this spot, they were kind of overachieving based on how good they were offensively.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how much of their offensive success over the past couple of weeks was the fact that it was at home. And they had a decent amount of wind blowing out games, and facing off against Cincinnati helped. And the Atlanta series was fun too, but they were a lot of home games. And now they went back on the road, and they really didn't do much offensively against the Mets. In fact, they scored less than 4 runs in every game. I am wondering how much of that offensive explosion was based on the wind conditions in Chicago. And I do think some regression was due. But you're looking at Berrios, and I gave him a lot of hard time. I gave him a hard time during the first couple starts of the year and last year, mostly because of the fact Toronto paid a ton of money for him. But he's been good at home, 2.72 ERA, and I do think that he's in line to pitch pretty well here. Toronto at home this season, I do think, is fine, could be better, but I think when you're looking at the spot, I'm not sold on Assad and whatever combo the Cubs are going to use. So I think for that reason, I'm going to lean to the Blue Jays and have faith. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts there. 30-24, though, not bad at home for Toronto. Cubs are below 500 on the road. So I'm going to lean to the Blue Jays in the spot.
Okay, lead us into your rant.
So going into the game, you see Syndergaard's on the mound. At that point, how do you not blindly attempt more than one stolen base in the entire game? They had like 8 base runners in 5 2/3 against Syndergaard, and they only stole 1 base. How does that happen?
Like I said, it's a managerial thing.
It's 100% a managerial thing, but I got to at least bring it up because Syndergaard's been giving up stolen bases for free to everybody. And it wasn't even like Kirk getting hits or people that can't run. Merrifield got a hit. Springer got a hit. He stole a base too, but I don't know how you're not endlessly running every time you get on base against Syndergaard. And that's why they scored 3 runs. It's because they didn't get enough guys into scoring position, and they should have stolen some bases. So that goes back to Munaf's point, which was the manager is really not good, and only stealing 1 base against Syndergaard in the entire start is embarrassing because the rest of the league stealing 3-4 bases every time he's on the mound.
Yeah, I agree. All right, guys, before we get over to the next game on the schedule, let me tell everyone about the newest sponsor on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. That is going to be Parlay Play. We're brought to you by Parlay Play. Parlay Play is a great way to get down on your favorite parlayed player props. Football season is right around the corner, and Parlay Play will have all your favorite props. Parlay Play is available in a ton of states, including California and Texas, plus our good friends up north. Parlay Play is available in a bunch of provinces in Canada. And when you sign up with our code, you'll get a sweet bonus to get started. Head over to parlayplay.io. Make sure to use that promo code SGP because when you do, you get a 100% deposit bonus of up to $100. Again, that's parlayplay.io, promo code SGP for a 100% deposit bonus of up to $100. All right, guys, next game on the board, it is going to be a 7:10 Eastern start. We have the Atlanta Braves. They are headed to New York City to take on the Mets. I am seeing Charlie Morton's going to get the start here for the Atlanta Braves, and Tyler McGill is on the mound for the New York Mets. The Braves are a -180 road favorite here, +150 on the money line for the New York Mets. Total set at 9.5 with juice towards the under at -115. Run line -1.5, -108 for the Braves. And +1.5, -112 for the New York Mets. I think just off the bat, we should probably just go ahead and say that you should be on the Braves team total, whether it's at should be 5.5, like it has been this past several weeks. I think today was the only game that didn't get there against the Pirates. Ended up only scoring 5 runs, but they did come from behind in the first 2 games to get over their team total. But Tyler McGill this season, 6-5 with a 5.45 ERA. His last 5 games, 1-2 with a 7.36 ERA. He's allowed 18 earned runs and 22 innings pitched. His last game, or his last 2 starts, I should say, was against the Astros and the Baltimore Orioles. Pretty good offenses. Top 5, I think we can make the argument for sure in the entire MLB this season. Allowed a total of 9 earned runs and just 7 innings pitched against those 2 squads. And now you're going up against a top 2 offense, if not the best offense next to the Rangers, probably, in the Atlanta Braves. 4 of his last 5 starts, the Mets have lost, and they have lost 3 of those games by multiple runs. Charlie Morton on the other side here for the Atlanta Braves. On the season, he is 10-10 with a 3.86 ERA. Has been in trouble of his last 5 games where he's just 1-4 with a 5.40 ERA. He's allowed 16 earned runs and 26 innings pitched. The Braves, unfortunately, have lost 4 straight starts when Morton is on the mound. And he's also been giving up runs here. And walks have been also a problem for Charlie Morton. He's allowed at least 3 walks in 4 straight starts. And he's given up at least 3 earned runs he's given up 4 earned runs in 3 of his last 4 starts. So, number 1, again, check the weather in this game, but I do like the over, first 5 over in this game. The Braves, we talked about it earlier when we were talking about the Pirates, that the pitching just hasn't been there. The Pirates are able to get some hits as well. So I think the Mets, can tack on some runs here against the Braves. I mean, the Braves often speaks for themselves. Anytime they're down, 2-0, 3-0. They always have the offensive firepower to come back and at least tie up the game or maybe get the outright victory. But I do see runs in this game with that first 5 innings or full game over 9.5. Lean with the Braves here, but I love the total more on the over here, Lonte.
Yeah, I love the Braves also. However you can get them, I like the team total, like you mentioned. If you don't want to lay to 180, I think that should be closer to 200. It might close closer to 200. I mean, Atlanta's owned the Mets. They've won 12 of the last 14, including 5 of 6 this year. In those 6 games this year, they're outscoring them 42-32. 4 of the Atlanta wins were by 2+ runs. So, I mean, they've been dominant against this team, no matter where they're playing at, whether it's in New York or in Atlanta. I like the over also. I mean, Morton, you mentioned it, since July going into August, 16 earned runs in his last 4 starts. The Mets did get 4 off of him back in the June matchup, but I mean, that was essentially him making like one mistake. I think he gave up a 2-run blast in maybe like a 3rd or 4th inning, and that kind of snowballed, affecting to the next inning. So he wasn't horrible, but just made a few mistakes there. McGill, 4+ earned runs in 5 of his last 7 starts. I don't trust the Mets at all. I think we can see some runs, a lot of people on bases. I mean, the Mets might score, 7 or 8 by themselves. So I like the over. I like Atlanta.
Scott?
Yeah, for me, I'm going to go with the over in this one. I'm not really going to overthink this. I am going to lean to Atlanta as well, but the starters have been a bit concerning lately, and the bullpen hasn't been great either. So I do think Atlanta might give up a couple more runs to the Mets than you might think. But I do, when you're looking at Morton, you mentioned the numbers a second ago, but he has given up at least 4 earned in 3 of his last 4 starts. And he's also not gone much length. To look at his numbers against the Mets, though, just pulling that up with the batter versus pitcher numbers. The Mets have been okay against him. They faced him a lot. They've had 162 plate appearances against him. 240 batting average is not great, but a 315 on base percentage. And once again, a big reason for that is the 16 walks. So I can see traffic on the base paths here. I'm not even going to bother mentioning McGill. I think he's going to get killed in the start, so I'm not really going to bother explaining that. But I think when you're looking at Morton, he's going to give up a couple runs. Maybe Alonso takes him deep. We'll see. But I do think when you're looking at this matchup, the Mets aren't going to be able to get many outs in this series, in my opinion, because we know how deep Atlanta's offense is. And even that series against Pittsburgh, they weren't great wins and losses-wise, but they scored runs in every game. It wasn't like the offense let them down or anything. I do think when you're looking at this series, you're going to see some runs, especially from Atlanta. But I'm going to go with the over here. I think maybe Mets team total over is worth a look if you can find maybe a flat 4. It's a bit risky because, once again, the offense is a bit top-heavy there with the lineup, but I'm going to lean to the over. I see runs in this game.
Yeah, back-to-back starts this season, or sorry, not back-to-back start, but the 2 starts this season. Charlie Morton has faced the Mets. He's allowed at least 4 earned runs within those, I want to say, the first 5 innings as well. So, again, walks have been also a concern. He allowed 3 walks back on May 1st to the Mets, and then June 7th was the latest start of the Mets. 4 2/3 innings in that game. He allowed 4 earned runs, 2 home runs he gave up as well, and 4 walks in that game as well. So, yeah, definitely, I think we see runs in this game for sure. Next game on the board, gentlemen, it's going to be an 8:10 Eastern start. We have the LA Angels. They are in Houston to take on the Astros. Justin Verlander makes his first start in Houston since being traded back to the Astros. He is a -192 home favorite here, +160 on the money line for the LA Angels. I'm not sure if I mentioned the Angels started. It is going to be Reed Detmers. 8.5 is a total in this game with the big towards the under at -120. Run line -1.5, +114 for the Astros, and +1.5, -135 for the LA Angels in this game here. Scott, what do we got?
For me, I feel like, once again, the Astros should win this game, but it's a little bit juicy for me. The question is, do I want to take the run line? I think I might want to just take Astros team total over, or first 5 team total over. Actually, you know what? Probably full game, because the Angels bullpen's been terrible for the last couple weeks anyway. I think Houston's going to tee off on Detmers. I don't think Detmers is very good. I've said it for a while on the show. He's had moments where he strikes out a lot of guys, but he doesn't get many outs besides strikeouts. Just looking at his numbers here. Gave up 7 earned against Seattle in his last outing. Went 4 2/3, 2 runs against Toronto the start before that. He doesn't go much length. He faced off against Houston in a game where Houston blew a massive lead a couple weeks ago, and he gave up 4 runs in 6 innings. But so far this season, 0-5 record on the road, 5.49 ERA. I really don't think he's that great of a pitcher. I know he had a no-hitter and all. Congrats to him, but I think Houston's going to tee off against him. Houston's faced him twice this season, 11 innings pitched, 8 earned runs, which is equivalent to a 6.55 ERA. Houston's been playing good baseball lately. I know they lost the series finale against Baltimore. I still can't believe they let Singleton hit with the bases loaded in the 9th inning. That's a separate story. But you're looking at this matchup where the main core has been hitting for Houston. I think Tucker has a shot to go deep, maybe Jordan, maybe anybody else from the right side. But I think Astros probably want to win by multiple runs. I'll lean to the team total over, though, because I do think Detmers is in line to get shelled here.
Lonte, what do you got?
Yeah, man, this is gonna be my best bet of the show. No, I'm just playing Munaf. I told Munaf I wasn't gonna steal his thunder with the Astros. But yeah, man,
you guys actually you talk about your plays beforehand?
No, we just in this chat, and I had took his play. I think maybe
I stole your play on the last show. We took the Braves. So.
Was it? Yeah, I mean that's fine. But it was it 2
you got
days
all
ago?
credit for it on the
No,
Twitter
y'all
post.
double locked it. Y'all both won that game.
No, we did, but the Twitter post only had Lonte talking about it. So I stole I Zuckerberged him for the pay.
Hey, I'm a team player, man. It's
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I copied your notes, before the test. Appreciate it.
Yeah, but I thought they opened. I mean, I'm not trying to be that guy that's that's giving out stale numbers, but they opened this like 165, 170, and I thought that was way too low for Verlander at home.
Yes, it was like 166. I think.
Yeah, and I was like, that's kind of odd. I mean, especially with the way the Angels have been playing. I mean, they lost 7 of the last 10.
Hey, they won 2 straight.
Yeah,
they're cooking. That's a winning streak. They won 2
I'll give
straight.
him that. But I mean, this is the I guess the second homecoming for Verlander with Houston.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I mean, they're gonna be amped up. It's not like they're playing bad baseball either. I mean, they probably got a little fortunate with the wins against Baltimore outside of today. But
take those.
I mean, they've won 7 of the last 11. 45 and 32 as a favorite, 31 and 25 at home. I mean, offensively, I think they're hitting the ball really well. Scott, you mentioned it with Detmers, 5 straight outings without a win. He's not been able to go through 5 innings in 3 of those games. 4.78 ERA.
And the bullpen sucks. So he's not going to go any length. It's going to hurt them anyway.
Yeah, so like 165, 170 as an opener, I thought that was crazy. I still think it probably got a little bit more room to go. So I like Houston any way you can get them, man. I mean, team total, first 5, full game, money line, run line, whatever you can get them at. I'm all over the Stros.
I know BetMGM has a couple of star player props, and they have an option. I think it's the only book that has it. You can bet on a pitcher to allow 0 earned runs in a start. They actually have that option. Verlander might be due for it. I mean, there's a way to have a loophole on that prop is you hope the guy only goes 5 innings and you potentially win because the bullpen will give up the rest. But I think Verlander is going to pitch a gem here. It just feels like all the stars are aligning. Ohtani's been slumping a bit lately at the plate. The Angels have injuries to some other guys. I think Verlander probably goes 6 or 7, maybe gives up 1 run, give or take. I could see a great start from him. And
you can another way to bet, like if you want to lay a lot of juice, you can bet Verlander to just like win the game, and you probably can get like close to even money on it. If it's 175, 180 right now, you probably can get even money on it. I think
it'll be a little bit of a minus, probably like minus.
Maybe depending on the book you shop around. But a lot of books do that, and I think that's more advantageous. I mean, if you think he's going to come out and shut him down, like you just said, Scott, I think it's good value on him to get a win versus laying whatever it is, 185, 180 or whatever.
I have to compare the odds on the record win prop against the first 5 run line because I feel like that's similar to taking a pitcher over earned runs compared to the first 5 team total over. It's kind of the same bet, but you leave yourself extra room, Like for the earned run stuff, if you get an error and they score 4 runs, you just lose automatically. But for the first 5, like if they're going to go over the earned runs prop, they're going to go over in the first 5 most of the time. If a team's going to win the game for the pitcher, usually they're winning after 5. So I got to compare the odds for the win to the first 5 minus half. I'm assuming that Verlander is going to be cheaper, but just keep an eye on that because it's kind of the same market, slightly different, but very, very correlated.
That's the kind of math Kramer loves right there.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed that mostly with earned runs because I see a lot of people on Twitter giving out pitcher under and earned runs. And I'm thinking, why wouldn't you just save 25 cents just taking first 5 team total under? It's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Unless the guy gets shelled in the 6th. But you know what I mean? Usually, if you win one, you're going to win the other.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I agree with everything that you guys said. I think this should be a gem of start for Verlander. I think the crowd's definitely going to be excited getting Verlander back in his first home start since the trade, at least this time around. But it's everything that Scott said that I want to fade Reed Detmers here. He just hasn't been very good against the Astros throughout the past couple seasons here. And again, this should be a bounce back spot for the Astros. They are 31 and 18 straight up after a loss. But again, we're looking at a minus 192 price here. But again, I'm on the Astros minus 1.5 plus 114 here. Should be a good game to probably do an Astro stack. Depending on what the lineup comes out. Again, Dusty Baker's has been messing with the lineup. I know Chas McCormick got scratched today for the Astros before the game started.
You think McCormick couldn't have pinch hit in the 9th inning there with the bases loaded?
Yeah. Then again, that's what it's a lot of frustration with Dusty Baker. I know they're coming off the World Series win, but I think that a lot of the fan base want like AJ Hinch back because he made.
I couldn't have been alone on that, right? I don't know if you were. I'm assuming you were watching that game, right?
Yeah,
you're an Astros fan.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you were agreeing with me. Why is Singleton, who has a batting average below 100, batting with the bases loaded against Batista?
Well, as somebody that had a Baltimore ticket, I'm glad he did.
I'm just saying. I know Singleton's been a good story, but I think Munaf saw him come to the plate and said, "Please send up McCormick."
Yeah. Yeah. Again, another Dusty Baker blunder of a decision there. So Astros, I think, in all of which way here for all of us here for this game against the Angels. I may have skipped over a couple games here, so let me kind of go back. 7:05 Eastern Star. We have the Twins and the Phillies. We do have listed pitchers for this game, but no official lines yet. But I am seeing Dallas Keuchel is getting the start here for the Twins. And then for the Phillies, it is going to be Christopher Sanchez getting the start there. Scott, anything we want to add for this game, or if you want to handicap it here? I know Dallas Keuchel had a pretty good start, but again, it was against a lesser opponent. But want to handicap this game here, even though we don't have lines yet?
Yeah, for me, I'm just going to go with the Phillies team total over. I'm not going to try to rock the boat here. The offense has been great. There's really no way around it. I know they had a no-hitter, which kind of, I don't want to say takes away from the offensive explosion, but it kind of became a secondary talking point. The offense has been going crazy, at home especially, for the last week, and I don't see that changing here. Keuchel was good in his first outing, but we know Arizona forgot how to hit for about a week and a half, or maybe even a month, because they have not been doing well at all. But you're looking at Philly, and once again, they're in good form. Keuchel, I think, is going to struggle here in a pretty hitters-friendly ballpark. We know that Philly has been, once again, just a full-on, it never ends. It's just a full-on assault of starting pitchers, whether it's the top of the order, the bottom of the order. They called somebody up yesterday from the minors. He homered, and then he stole a base later in the game. It just feels like they have a plethora of riches. Trey Turner, remember, had a hit, which is helping out the middle of the lineup, but I am going to go with Philly team total over. I just think they got too many guys.
Yeah, Keuchel, even though against the Diamondbacks, at least, he had 5 innings, 1 earned run, but he also did about 8 hits. It just seemed like the Diamondbacks weren't able to take advantage of with runners on the bases, right? So I think that with the Phillies, you can't make that mistake because, what Scott mentioned, that this offense has been on absolute fire over the last couple of weeks, we can say. But I know Christopher Sanchez hasn't been able to record wins for the Phillies here. I'm trying to pull up his exact numbers here. He's 0-3, but he does have a 3.44 ERA, 48 strikeouts, 9 walks. Last start, he did get roughed up by the Royals. 5 innings, he allowed 6 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 home runs. He gave up 7. He did have 7 strikeouts, but I agree with Scott. I think it's Philly's team total. Probably will be 5.5. But nonetheless, I think this might be a start where we see Keuchel of the fade Keuchel train like we had last season. Lonte, any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, as far as the side, I mean, you can't really speak on it, but if the total opens anywhere like under 10, maybe even under 10.5, I would go over. Scott, you mentioned it with the Phillies offense, 7+ runs in 4 of their last 5. Minnesota, 5+ runs in 4 of their last 5. So both teams playing really well offensively. Minnesota, they were outscored 15-5 in their last 2 by Detroit, but I think both teams can have offensive success here. And I'd lean Philly at home on the run line. You mentioned it with Keuchel, so I think it'll come back down to earth against a better offensive team who's playing well. So over, as long as it's under 10, I probably would lean over at 10. But that'd probably be the best play I have. And of course, the Phillies team total to go over.
All right. And then 7:05 Eastern start, the A's and the Nationals, the toilet bowl of the weekend series. No lines on this game, but we do have Paul Blackburn getting the start here for the A's. And Jake Irvin is getting the start here for the Nationals. I'll start here with Paul Blackburn. He's been pretty solid for the Oakland A's in his starts, at least over the last couple ones. I'm trying to pull up the exact numbers here, but on the season, he's 2-2 with a 4.35 ERA. Last five games, he made 4 starts. He's 1-1 with a 4.13 ERA. Over his last 3 starts, he's pitched a total of 17 and 1/3 innings. He's only allowed 3 earned runs. That was against the Giants, the Rockies, and the Astros. And then on the other side, like I mentioned, we have Jake Irvin, who just has not been very good for the Nationals. There was a stretch where he had about 2 or 3 good starts, but since then he's kind of regressed back to the pitcher that we've seen. But the Nationals have actually won 4 straight starts when he is on the mound. It seems like, or at least the offense has carried Jake Irvin in those starts because they scored at least 5 runs in 5 straight starts for their team when he is on the mound. But he's going to give you up at least two to 3 earned runs on minimum. And home runs are also an issue for Jake Irvin, right? He's allowed 3 of his last 4 starts. He allowed 2 home runs in at least 3 of those games. And again, walks are a concern for him as well. So I think the A's can maybe tag him for a few runs here. Maybe a first 5 innings over here. I would lean with the A's here, but again, not going to be watching this game, not going to be betting this game. But if you do want to pick first 5 over, and I would lean with the A's. But if you're watching this game or betting on this game, do us a favor, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Lonte?
Well, get the phone out because I'm betting on this game. As soon as the lines come out, man, I love betting the A's when Blackburn is on the mound, and I think they'll be not significant. I guess they'll be slight underdogs here because of the way Washington has been playing. They won 3 of the last 5.
They also got no hit. So.
Yeah,
they're going to be favored in this game because Oakland's underdogs to everybody.
Right. So, but my thing is back in Blackburn, he does allow a decent amount of contact, but he does keep it in the park. Only 2 home runs allowed in his last 6 starts. Look at him in the first 5. He's really good in the first 5. He's only been trailing once in the first 5 in his last 9 starts. Oakland's actually outscoring opponents in the first 5 of his starts in that span, 21-18. Doesn't seem like a lot, but for Oakland, that's an insurmountable margin right there. He's pitched well versus high quality offenses, 2 earned runs or less in 4 of his last 5. So this is what he does against, I would consider high quality offenses. So 1 earned run against Houston, 2 earned runs against Boston, 2 earned runs against Tampa, and 1 earned run against Atlanta. So he's in good form here. I think he should have no problem with the Washington lineup. So I like Oakland in the first 5, sprinkle a little bit on the money line whenever that number comes out.
5-2 and 4 straight up in the first 5 innings for Paul Blackburn this season. Scott, any thoughts on this game?
I do want to ask, though, you said initially, who did you say was starting?
I see Paul Blackburn for the A's and then Jake Irvin for the Nationals.
Okay, so ESPN has now listed Adon as the starter.
Yeah, I just seen that too.
Okay, then they probably changed it then. Okay.
Yeah, so I know Adon had a perfect game through 5 against the Reds last time out, and then
I believe so. Yeah,
something like that. But anyway, with Adon being the assumed starting pitcher, that doesn't really do anything for me. I'm going to channel my inner Malcolm here. Give me the A's first 5. I'll go with Blackburn to get it done in the spot. Don't look now. Oakland shutout victory against Texas yesterday. Did they bench Corey Seager? Maybe. We're not going to talk about it. But the point is they shut down a good offense. But I think when you're looking at this matchup here, Blackburn, I think, is the better pitcher, regardless of whether it's Adon or Irvin. But Oakland, they're not a good team. I'm aware of that. But the Nationals are also not a good team at home. They're 22 and 34 at home. So they've been much better on the road than at home by comparison. But I think for this matchup in itself, with Adon being on the mound, I think Washington will definitely be favored in the spot because Adon had a decent start last time out. So with that being the case, I'll take the A's at maybe plus money in the first 5. I'll put faith in Blackburn. I don't really trust the bullpens, though. And I think as a result, I'm just going to go with Blackburn to do his thing.
All right. So
does your opinion on the game change since it's Adon over?
Yeah,
I didn't think it would.
Yeah, I think I agree with what Lonte said, that if you're going to bet this game, A's first 5 innings with Blackburn on the mound makes a lot of sense here, and the numbers are backing it up as well.
Malcolm's betting it off camera. So.
Oh yeah. You don't even need to mention it. He's already going to be on. I think every game he's probably just putting A's. First
I really want to know a
line.
season number of what the A's first 5 is, just in every capacity, just for reference. Probably not good, but you never know because they get paid. It's a lot of money.
When Blackburn's pitching, they're really good first five. Really,
yeah,
really
that doesn't
good.
surprise me. The rest
Really
of the team, I don't know. Probably not great.
Yeah.
So first 5 innings this season for the A's, 33, 63, and 19.
I'm trying to think of what their usual price range is.
And Blackburn probably won like half of those.
Yeah, so once again, you're down units, but you're down a lot less than if you're betting full games. If that makes you feel any better.
Let me see. And starter, let's see. Paul Blackburn, like I mentioned, 5, 2, and 4 in the first 5 innings. You would be. Let me see if I can find some numbers.
But if you bet if you probably if you bet the run line at the plus a half, you probably coming out profiting on Blackburn a lot because those 4 pushes would be wins.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. Yeah. All right. Next game on the board, guys. Let's go over to the south side of Chicago. 8:10 Eastern start. The Milwaukee Brewers. They are headed to the south side to take on the White Sox. Corbin Burns gets to start here for the Milwaukee Brewers, and Michael Kopech gets to start here for the Chicago White Sox. Brewers are a minus 166 road favorite here, plus 140 on the money line for the Chicago White Sox. Total set at 8.5. With juice towards a little bit of juice towards the over at minus 112. Run line minus 1.5, minus 108 for the Brewers, and plus 1.5, minus 112 here for the Chicago White Sox. Start here with Corbin Burns. Burns, I think we talked about this on one of the preview shows, or maybe an episode after the All-Star break, that maybe to consider Burns for National League MVP. Sorry, not MVP, Cy Young, but last 5 games,
we tabled how good he had to be.
Yeah.
Like if he had to be CC Sabathia in the second half to win the potential Cy Young.
Let me see.
He hasn't been that good, but he's been really consistent and really solid.
Yeah, I think he was 20 or 25 to 1 at the time. Let me see the updated number here if there is one.
It's mostly down to 10 to 1 race according to most people. But Strider is not going to win it. So basically,
I got 22. I got 22 and 20 for him.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's 4-horse race between Gallen, Snell, Snyder. Oh, sorry, it's not Snyder. Strider, and then Justin Steele.
Well, Strider's not going to win it. I think Strider's in last there. So he's only there for the strikeouts, but the ERA is too high. He's not going to win it.
I'm pulling for our guy Justin Steele to get that Cy Young award. Dinner on me for sure if Justin Steele gets the Cy Young award in the National
For me,
League.
the Burns conversation is kind of similar. It's not the exact same because Freeman's been great all year long. Mm-hmm. It's kind of similar to the Freeman MVP conversation in the National League, where you're looking at the numbers and you're like, this guy should be under serious consideration. And you look at the price and you basically just say, well, unless this guy gets hurt, he's clearly going to win the award because Acuna is going to steal 60 bases. So it's not really going to matter. It's kind of the same boat, in my opinion, with Burns, where no matter how good he pitches, I think it's going to be too little too late. Yeah. You have this many contenders, and I think Burns should be relatively near Strider. You can interpret that how you want, but I don't think Strider's got a shot to win the award based on his current form. So I think Burns should be closer to like 15 to 1 or 10 to 1. But you go through the numbers. Right now. What?
He's 10 to 1 right now.
He's 10 to 1. Okay, so that dropped in half basically since we talked about it.
No. I was saying I got Burns at 20 and 22 to win.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I thought you meant it was currently 20.
No.
Okay, so 10 to 1.
Burns,
I mean, that's kind of what we thought would happen with Burns. I think he should be around the same price as Strider. So I think the argument for Burns is nobody's claimed it yet. He's making a great push for it. I do think since nobody's talking about him, though, they're probably not going to give it to him back-to-back.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I would consider voting for him, though. I'm not sold on anybody. Snell I'd probably vote for, but the lack of innings is going to be a problem in every single Cy Young campaign that Snell has.
I think walks are also concerned for him as well, for Blake Snell. But we'll talk about him. I think he's on the schedule to pitch against.
To circle back, Burns has been very good for about 2 months.
Yeah, and in his career against the National League, the American League, he's been really good as well. 12-2 with a 2.19 ERA in 24 appearances against the American League. Now this season, it hasn't been as good, at least in the last 2 starts where he faced the 2 AL Central teams, the Twins and the Guardians. Allowed 3 earned runs and 4 earned runs respectively. But Michael Kopech on the other side, on the season, he is 5-10 with a 4.43 ERA. He's gotten into a lot of trouble at home. In 11 starts, he's just 1-6 with a 4.45 ERA. The White Sox have lost 2 of his last 3 starts. And again, a pitcher that walks are another concern with. He's allowed at least 4 walks in 4 of his last 5 starts. Last 5 starts, 15 strikeouts, 18 walks he's allowed, and 14 earned runs in 21 and 2/3 innings pitched. Um, it's tough to take the Brewers on the run line because they really don't win by margin. Because I've been burned by them twice. I know I picked them, I think, over the last 2 weeks on the run line, and they won the game exactly by 1 run in those spots. But I'll lean here with the Brewers on the money line here. I don't trust this White Sox team. Corbin Burns, like we mentioned, is just in really good form right now and has a lot of success against American League teams as well. So Brewers for me here, Lonte.
Yeah, this is another one that the odds makers opened it a little bit too low. They opened it probably about 10 to 12 cents lower than what it currently is right now. I think it's still too short for Burns. I mean, you guys mentioned how good he's been. I mean, he hasn't allowed over 2 earned runs since June 25th, and he hasn't allowed over 4 hits in that same span. So he is dialed in completely. I mean, Milwaukee's 29-27 on the road. Chicago's 5 under at home. As a favorite, Milwaukee dominates 32-26. Chicago is 28-51 as a dog. I mean, I know, the White Sox have won 4 of the last 5, but I wouldn't put too much stock in it with 2 below average teams in the Yankees and Cleveland. I mean, I think this price is kind of short for Burns. I also like the under. Both teams under teams all year. Milwaukee's 59% to the under at home. I mean, on the road. Chicago's under in 7 of the last 10 and 56% at home to the under. So I think first 5 under, Chicago team total under, and Milwaukee. I know they burned you, Munaf. I'll take them on that run line also. So I like Milwaukee a lot here.
Scott?
Yeah, I'm on Milwaukee. Chicago did their part. They won a series against the Yankees. They're going to get blasted. I'll go with the Brewers run line here. The Brewers had a pretty inconsistent series against the Rockies, but they got a nice extra innings win there. They ended up winning 2 out of 3, I believe, in that series. Didn't look great, though, but I think Burns is once again going to shut down Chicago because Chicago's offense, besides Robert, is useless. So I think that when you're looking at how this is going to unfold, you're probably going to see Kopech give up a couple runs here and there. The White Sox bullpen, though, was really bad. Once again, the Yankees got a lot of guys on base. They just couldn't score. But I do think you're looking at Burns probably once again going 6 innings, 7 innings, 2 runs, and I think the Brewers probably win a low-scoring game. I'm going to lean to the under, but I think the Brewers probably win this one 5-2, give or take.
All right, 4 games left on the board here. Let's go 9:40 Eastern start. The San Diego Padres, they are in Arizona to take on the Diamondbacks. Blake Snell gets to start here for the San Diego Padres, and Ryan Nelson gets to start here for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Padres are a -160 road favorite here, +136 on the money line for the Diamondbacks. Total set at 9. Run line -1.5 even money for the Padres, and +1.5 -120 for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Scott, what do we got?
So for this one, I think I have to go with the Padres' first 5 run line in this one. I mentioned it a second ago in the NL Cy Young candidacy. Snell's a very good pitcher for 5 innings, and then he stops pitching. So I'm not going to take the Padres bullpen. The bullpen sucks. I really just can't. They're an unserious franchise who should have blown the whole team up, but they didn't. I'll back Snell early. We know Arizona can't score, and we know that Arizona can't find ways to win games. Feel bad for Merrill Kelly, though. Pitched well against a team that he sucks against, and they still lost 2-0. So damn shame for him. But anyway, they can't win games. It's just how it goes. Arizona is now, what are they, below 500 now? They 1 game under?
Let's see here.
They're either at 500 or 1 under. I think they're 1 under.
They should. I think the last game they lost, so they should be 1
They lost 2-0. That was the last game.
Yeah, 8 in a row they've lost, 57 and 58.
Yeah, so they're 1 under. They've lost 8 straight. I can't take them. But I'm not going to take the Padres' first 5 because this would be a game that San Diego finds a way to lose because it's San Diego. Give me the Padres' first 5. I think Snell pitches well. I think Arizona probably scores maybe 1 run or no runs. This might be a start where I mentioned before the BetMGM prop of no earned runs allowed. You hope Snell goes 5 innings and stops pitching, and it's like 2-0. So give me the Padres' first 5 run one.
Yeah, I mean, Nelson I can't back Nelson at home. It's been a night and day difference for him. If you take a look at his home and road splits, 4-2 with a 3.30 ERA on the road this season, 73 and 2/3 innings pitch. He's allowed 27 earned runs in that span. At home, 2-4 with an 8.01 ERA, 43 earned runs allowed, and 48 and 1/3 innings pitched at home this season. And he struggled in his career against the San Diego Padres. Just to put it into context, since the 2022 season last year. And then including this season, he's made 4 starts against the Padres. He's 1-1 with a 4.43 ERA. This season in San Diego, 5 innings pitched, he's out 3 earned runs. And then back on April 20th at home, 5 innings pitched, he's out 5 earned runs to the San Diego Padres. And Blake Snell in his career has been pretty solid against this Arizona Diamondbacks team. If you just want to, if we kind of look at his numbers since he joined the Padres, trying to pull that up here. Let's see. This goes all the way back to 2019, but really since 2021, since he joined the Padres, 4-1 with a 0.84 ERA, 63 strikeouts and 7 starts against the Padres. So I do like the run line here for the Padres. And again, we can't trust his Arizona Diamondbacks bullpen either. So Padres in every which way. Team totals, like Scott said, first 5 innings and then full game for me here as well. Lonte.
I don't mind a live over, though. If you see Snell get pulled, I would not mind an over because you might see some fireworks in the final 3 innings of this game.
Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah, I couldn't look anywhere other than San Diego. Got to keep fading Arizona. I mean, they lost 9 of the last 10. They've only scored over 3 runs once in the last 5 games.
You fire the manager for this? Like, you make an argument that they overachieved early, but you got to talk about it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Snell just unreal the last 3 months. 9 earned runs combined in his last 14 starts, 8 shutouts in that span.
That's so dumb.
That's insane.
9 earned,
that's
14
insane.
starts.
Yeah, and he's had 8 shutouts in that span too. So yeah, I would look at maybe an Arizona team total to go under, and I'll probably lay the run line with San Diego now. It's going to be tough to stomach it, but if they get out early, jump out early on Nelson, I mean, he's pretty much like a Jag. So I mean, I don't think he's anything special. So if they can get out early, 3-0, 3-1, I think they can cruise to a victory here by multiple runs.
As we're talking, the NBA releases their opening night schedule. I
saw that.
For
it's a good schedule.
Yeah, pretty good schedule. Good
some late
NBA
night
fans.
games though on the West Coast and Mountain Time. So
yeah. All right, guys, let's get over 3 games left here. 10:10 Eastern start, the Rockies and the Dodgers. Austin Gomber gets to start here for the Colorado Rockies, and Lance Lynn gets to start here for the Dodgers. Who would have thought this season that Lance Lynn would be a -325 favorite, plus 260 on the money line for the Colorado Rockies? Total is set at 9. Run line -1.5, -148 for the Dodgers, and +1.5, +124 for the Colorado Rockies. Lonte, take us away, man.
Man, Dodgers looking good, and they're getting reinforcements back. They're getting Kershaw back. Is he back tonight or is tonight?
He's back tonight. Yeah,
he's back tonight, and I think they're getting one more guy back.
Martinez is coming back at some point.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean they're adding a bunch of a bunch of guys back, and they're rolling right now. I mean they won 8 of the last 10. Of course, they're dominant at home, 34-20. They've owned Colorado this year. Colorado's 20-39 on the road. I'm gonna go with the Dodgers on the team total. They're 4-1 in the last 5 games against Colorado, outscoring them 45-18 in those games. At home, they're 18-6, outscoring them 18-6. I mean, Gomber, he's been pretty good lately. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't trust him against the Dodgers lineup and what they've been doing lately. Lynn, I mean, 4 earned runs combined on 9 hits and 2 starts. They were all home runs, so if he can cut that down, I think he'll be fine against his lineup. He's also had 13 Ks combined, so I might look at a K prop for Lynn also, but Dodgers team total over for me. It's pretty simple, and Dodgers playing great baseball right now.
Scott?
I'm actually kind of on the fence with this one because I think
wait.
Dodgers are going to win, but the price is so insane on Lance Lynn. Give me Rockies first 5. Let's have some fun with this. I'm going to put some faith in Gomber. I think this price is a bit off. I know Lynn's been good in his 2 starts with the Dodgers, but I do think, once again, I can't lay this number with Lance Lynn. I acknowledge that the Dodgers have been great offensively lately, but I do think Colorado's bullpen is where the problems are going to come and where the Dodgers are going to blow this game open. I could really see Gomber potentially dueling it out, once again, duel in quotes, with Lance Lynn. I see a close game for 5 innings. If I'm going to pick a close game in 5 innings, I'll take a massive plus money price in the first 5. You know what the price is on the first 5? The full game run line is going to be 2.5. You can probably find first 5 run line at 1.5 potentially for the Rockies, but
nothing yet that I see.
It's going to be in the 2 to 1. It's going to be north of 2 to 1.
Yeah, I just see the total.
There are worse ways
You'll
to
probably get a
gamble.
plus 200 money line. Yeah.
I think it's going to be more than that, honestly. It's 3 and change. It might be like 240 for the first 5, but I'm going to take it. Yeah, let's have some fun. Give me Gomber first 5 money line.
Gomber's been pretty good against the Dodgers in his career. At least, hold on, let me say at least since the 2021 season when he joined the Colorado Rockies. Despite having 0-1 record, he does have a respectable 3.86 ERA. 3 out of his 4 starts against the Dodgers in that span, he allowed 1 earned run in those games. So I'm gonna lean with the Rockies here. First 5, like Scott said.
The price is just so outrageous for Lance Lynn. I know how good the Dodgers are. Like, I'm aware.
Yeah,
it's just,
yeah,
I can't do it. I just can't do it with Lance Lynn.
Yeah, based on these prices, it's just a huge pass for me. But lean on the Rockies. Maybe if you want to take the run line, even if you get a decent price on the plus 2.5, I think it's definitely
first 5 is really probably going to be plus 1.5. Like that I find pretty appealing.
Yeah. All right, 2 games left here, guys. Let's get over to a 10:10 Eastern start at the Baltimore Orioles. They are in Seattle to take on the Mariners. Kyle Gibson gets to start here for the Orioles, and Luis Castillo is on the mound here for the Seattle Mariners. Mariners minus 142 home favorite here, plus 120 on the money line for the Baltimore Orioles. Total set at 8, run line minus 1.5, plus 145 for the Mariners, and plus 1.5, minus 175 for the Baltimore Orioles. Kyle Gibson on the season has been respectable. He's got a lot of offensive support. I'll say that much when he's starting games for the Orioles. On the season, he is 11-6 with a 4.50 ERA. Last 5 starts, 2-0 with a 4.15 ERA. He did face the Mariners earlier this season where he did get shelled in 3 innings. He allowed 5 earned runs and 7 hits to the Seattle Mariners. On the road this season, he's been pretty solid, 6-3 with a 3.95 ERA. The Orioles have won 4 of his last 5 starts. His last start was against the Mets, 7 innings. He allowed 3 earned runs, and the Orioles should get the 7-3 victory there. Luis Castillo on the other side, he has been really good at home for the Mariners. On the season, 7-7 with a 3.21 ERA. But at home, he's 5-3 with a 2.79 ERA. Did get roughed up in his last start against the Angels. He allowed 10 hits in 6 innings pitched, 7 earned runs. But prior to that, he was really solid for the Mariners. Seems like a tough travel spot for the Baltimore Orioles, going from Baltimore all the way to the West Coast. I know they had a game earlier, so they're probably already en route to Seattle. But going from East Coast to West Coast, maybe it takes a little bit to adjust, at least for game 1. I'll lean with the Mariners here. They've been playing some pretty good baseball. Definitely do have the best pitcher on the mound here. I'll lean with the Mariners money line minus 142 here, Lonte.
Yeah, man. Could you imagine if Castillo was still with the Reds? They had him at the top of that rotation.
I think you're going to say with the Yankees.
No.
We were rumored to get him for a couple of years.
Yeah, I know. He used to kill us whenever he was.
Yeah, every time. Still does.
Yeah, he does. But yeah, man, I think Castillo he's pitched better than his record has indicated. I think me and you, Munaf, were like banging a drum for him like in the past whenever he was he wasn't struggling. He was kind of just not getting a lot of run support. But I mean, he got blasted in his last start. But before that, I mean, he's only allowed over 3 earned runs twice in 15 starts. So, I mean, he's pitching really well. I honestly think that this series is similar to the series with Baltimore and Houston. I think it's kind of a toss-up, but I'll go with the better pitcher at home. Seattle's rolling, won 7 straight, 9 of their last 10. They're 33-26 at home, 40-30 as a favorite. So you mentioned the travel. I think that could be an advantage for Seattle here. So I'll lay it with Seattle on the road with the better pitcher. At home with the better pitcher. I'm sorry,
Scott.
So I'm going to go with Seattle. It's really a tough spot because Baltimore getting plus money is very appealing. But I know I was in the comment section live a couple episodes ago, and there was a discussion going on about the Mariners making the playoffs. I said at some point they're going to be 1 back of Toronto. I think they're getting in. I think they're going to get in. So they've won 7 straight. They've been playing some good baseball. They finally are starting to live up to preseason expectations in a way based on current form. I like how the team's played. They still strike out too much, but at least they're hitting some home runs and the pitching's been good. But I'm going to go with Seattle. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think Toronto is going to fall apart because the manager sucks. And I'm going to back that narrative. Give me the team that's won 7 straight at home.
All right, last game on the board. We got the Texas Rangers. They are in in San Francisco to take on the Giants. 10:15 Eastern start here. John Gray gets started here for the Rangers, and Scott Alexander gets started here for the Giants. Giants are a slight home favorite of -112 here, -108 on the money line for the Texas Rangers. Total set at 8. Run line -1.5 +160 for the Rangers, and +1.5 -192 for the San Francisco Giants here. Scott, close out strong.
So for this one, I think the first look I'm going to have is going to be we have a total in this game?
8.
I think I'm going to lean under in this one. Texas got shut out yesterday, but Seager didn't play. But Alexander's a lefty, so I do think maybe he can. I don't know if anybody can get in Seager's way, to be honest. But Gray's been decent this season, 3.72 ERA. Giants really did not perform well in the last couple games against the Angels. Offensively, they've been a bit hit or miss lately. But I think when you're looking at how this game's going to unfold, I see a classic game in Oracle Park, which is just a rock fight. It's a late night game in San Francisco. You don't tend to see many runs in those games, and I don't expect to see many runs here. I'm going to lean to the under. I think you'll see a lower scoring game. If I had to pick a side, I would lean to Texas because I have more faith in their offense than the Giants' offense, obviously. But I do think looking at this overall matchup, I think I'm going to lean under. I see a classic late night Giants game that ends like 4-2.
Lonte?
Yeah, I can buy into that. Also, I didn't look at it that way, but that's a great handicap. San Francisco a bit inconsistent as of late. I mean, Texas lost 2-0 to.
They let the Angels win post trade deadline. Nobody lets the Angels win post trade deadline.
Right. But Texas they've won 8 of the last 10. I thought the offense has been pretty good, and they're not bad on the road either. I think they're either 500 or a game over 500 on the road. Offense is rolling. Gray, he's been a bit up and down his last 5 or 6 starts, but on the road, I mean, he's allowed 2 earned runs or fewer in 4 of his last 6, so I think that's positive. San Francisco is usually good in openers, as we all know, but I mean, the way Texas' offense is playing, I think they can come out and get it done. So I'll slight lean to Texas on the run line here. I mean, on the money line here.
Yeah, Scott Alexander is more of a guy that's a spot starter. He's only going to go about 1 inning for you.
He's going for Stripling, right? Stripling's been good.
Yeah, Stripling has been good. So,
yeah. And then they'll put Manaya in there to stretch it out to like 3-4 innings.
I don't know. Stripling's been kind of stretched out recently. He's been going like into the 6th inning for the last couple.
Yeah, and I don't know why he doesn't get more innings. I don't think it's at all.
I like him at Toronto.
Yeah,
I thought he was.
I was never a fan of Stripling at all, but I will acknowledge he's been good for the last month.
Yeah. I'll lean with the Rangers here with John Gray. I don't love it, but again, check the weather.
I'm not going to have any action on this game.
Yeah, I'm not going to have any action either. But if you had a gun to my head, if you need a play, I would probably lean with the Ranger. I think they should bounce back offensively at least here. Maybe like a 4-2, 5-2 type of game here. I think it sneaks under the total as well. All right, guys, that was the last game on the schedule. One order of business left here before we get out of here. Let's get into our lock and dog for the Friday games. Lonte, you want to lead us off?
Yeah, sure. So I'm gonna go with the lock and a dog from. No, I guess they're not a dog anymore. So I'll go with a lock right here with Milwaukee laying the 1.5. We mentioned it. Burns, I think he's too short. If you want to lay it with on the run line, if that's not enough, if it's not too much juice for you, I think that's a good bet. But I mean, Milwaukee, they should come in here and dominate. I mean, Burns not allowed over 2 earned runs since June 25th. So he's been dialed in. He's not allowing a lot of hits either. Chicago, one of the worst hitting teams in the MLB. They're 28-51 as a dog. I don't see them having any kind of fight here. I think Milwaukee can come out and bury them. So I think they can win, 4-1, 5-0 type of game here. As for my dog, come back to me because I wanted to do Oakland, but I can't give it out because it doesn't have a number. So can you come back to me?
You can give it out. I gave out the White Sox money line in the last show. They didn't have a line out.
Check another website that usually on the odd screen that usually has.
It's going to be short. I'm assuming Oakland's going to be like plus 105 or plus 110.
Yeah, it's fun. I'll take it here. I'll go with Cincinnati on the run line -1.5. So I got 2 run line plays. I like Cincinnati in the spot. I think the game's going to be pretty good. I just like Abbott. I mean, I think he's going to bounce back from those 2 past performances. 1 earned run, a few in 4 of his last 6 road starts. He's had 3 shutouts in that span. I think Cincinnati's offense can wake up just a little bit to get over the number. Ovietto's been good, but he has a tendency to let it get away from him a little bit here. So I think Cincinnati can get back on track with offensively and get a win here. So I'm looking for maybe like a 3-1, 4-2 type of game from Cincinnati here.
All right. Scott, what do you got?
For me, for my lock, I think I'm going to go back to the first game we talked about. I'm going to go with the under. It was 8.5, I believe, in the Guardians and Rays game. I think 8.5 is too high. Just simply put, I see some 8s now, so grab the 8.5 if you still can. But I'm going to take it because I found one available at WinBet. So I'm going to go with the 8.5 under. Savale, I know, was hit or miss in his first start with Tampa, but for the most part, he's still been good this year. 2.55 ERA. Curry's been solid, but it's really just fading Cleveland's offense. They have done nothing offensively for the last week and change. It's been an issue for several years, but once again, to go through the offensive numbers for the Guardians, this is runs scored. 4-0, 1-1, 3-4, 4-2, 0-3, and yeah, it's been rough. So I don't think they're going to score many runs. Curry's been fine, and I think that Tampa's offense has been struggling for the last couple of months. It's been better lately, but I do think you're looking at another ugly game in the Trop that probably finishes like 4-2, 5-3, something like that. 8.5, though, for these two pitchers, I think does feel a little bit high. I'm going to go with the under in this one as my lock. And for my dog, I think I'm going to have I really am tempted to go head-to-head against Lonte here.
Ooh,
let's do it. Let's do it.
I'm tempted to, but I'm also tempted to take Miami run line at home against the Yankees. But I see the run line for the Marlins is plus 1.5. It's one of those weird reverse run lines where they don't give me the minus 1.5. I think Miami's going to probably win comfortably against the Yankees, but you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to trust my instincts again. I got to find a price on it whenever I can find it, but I can guarantee you it's going to be plus money. Give me Luzardo and the Marlins minus 1.5. I don't have faith in Vasquez, whoever the Yankees are going to throw. They just ended up losing a series to the White Sox of all teams, so you know this team is definitely in trouble. Give me the Marlins run line at probably a big plus money price as my dog. My runner-up dog was Pittsburgh money line at like plus 110. I think Pittsburgh's been in good form. So that's my runner-up dog, but I'll go with the Marlins instead.
All right. For my lock, I am going to go with the over 9.5 in the Braves and the Mets game. Tyler McGill and Charlie Morton on the mound. Two pitchers that are in bad form. Talked about how good the Braves offense is, and I think the Mets can definitely tag Charlie Morton for a few runs as well. They did in his 2 starts earlier this season against Morton. So I think 9.5, that number is a little conservative here. You can get a minus 105 right now over on DraftKings on over the 9.5, but won't be surprised if we do see at least 12 runs being scored in this game combined by both these teams. So over 9.5 for me. And then for my dog, I thought it would be a bigger dog here on the Padres on the run line, but I'll go with the hometown team, the Houston Astros. Justin Verlander, minus 1.5. It's down to plus 110 now. It was at plus 114 when we were talking about the game.
I didn't realize it was still plus money.
Yeah, it's at plus 110. So should be a gem of a game for Verlander being back in the juice box at his first home start since the trade, since coming back. The crowd is going to be hyped. Reed Detmers has struggled mightily against the Houston Astros. I think this should be a comfortable win for the Astros. And Verlander had a great start against the Yankees. He did go 7 innings, but he just didn't get the run support in that game. So being back at home, hopefully Dusty Baker doesn't put out a shit lineup with some of the guys that he does want to put in the lineup. But I think
You're
the
ready
Astros
to see Maldonado back there, by the way.
He will be back there. But
I know because he catches Verlander pretty well.
Yeah, but if Diaz is in that DH spot, or at least, if Alvarez is in the outfield, I think that, you can find a way to get those guys in there, because I think there was a game this week against the Orioles where he had Diaz as a DH, and I think that might have been a game where Alvarez was getting a rest day. But nonetheless, Verlander should shut down this Angels offense, and then I think that Astros definitely score enough runs for them to get the run line cover here. So minus 1.5, plus 110. Definitely shop around. Maybe you could find some better odds on that dog price. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast. We did miss 2 games, which was the Royals and the Cardinals. Wainwright's on the mound. I don't know if we need to say much about that, but and then the Red Sox.
I was going to link Kansas City anyway.
Yeah, and then the Red Sox and who are they playing?
They're playing Detroit.
Yeah, so
I like Detroit.
I'll lean Detroit first 5 with Skubal. I don't trust Chris Sale off the IL, assuming it's going to be Chris Sale pitching.
Yeah. So those were the 2 games that we did miss, but again, they didn't have any lines posted yet. But Scott, anything else?
Not really. Been sweating out tennis picks this afternoon, so hopefully my dog from the podcast cashes.
Lonte, anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right, make sure to you subscribe to the MLB Gambling Podcast YouTube channel. If you haven't already signed up for the Patreon, we do a lot of free content, or everything we do is free as far as content in our pods and our picks and things like that. So it's a great way to you guys to support the network. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon and come join us also in the Discord for patrons only. It's a lot of fun kicking it with the guys in there. And again, weekly contests that are free to enter that have some nice cash prizes for those contests as well. Me and D-Rock will be back tomorrow for our Lock Dog and Total Picks. We'll kick some tires again on some things happening around the MLB. Maybe we'll talk about the Aaron Boone ejection. Maybe we'll talk about some other stuff. But join us tomorrow at the usual time. Till then, good luck with your picks. Let's break these books off and let it ride.